Welcome back to Album Coverage, where we run through a recording artist's back catalog, cover by cover. And today we've got Australian, legendary, very sexy man with his rather unsexy bandmates, INXS, Michael Hutchence et al. Rest his soul. Not the rest of them, because they're still alive. The INXS actually go all the way back to 1980. You may not know that because it took a couple of years before they became internationally famous. This is their first album, their debut, their self-titled album, and it is accompanied with a very primitive photograph of a beach full of very poorly drawn people. I wonder if it was a member of the band that drew this, or, like the daughter of a member of the band, or something like that. But yeah, that's the debut, INXS, Beaches. And the next album, Underneath the Colors, is the other early era album, kind of, I think was probably only released in Australia, at least at the time. What's going on here? You've got this very kind of, it looks like tangrams, actually, a geometric image of two people dancing with very exaggerated joints, and the same image is reproduced 4 times on the album cover to make it look like 8 people who are dancing. It's interesting. And this is not INXS. So cute. Not really. It's a cheap album cover. It's some kind of compilation of their early stuff. And there they are, all 6 of them. And Michael Hutchence is not especially sexy, but he is standing at the front in the yellow fake shirt, as opposed to the red or green or blue fake shirts, or dude at the corner who for some reason doesn't get a fake shirt at all and is just a floating head. Shabu Shuba. Can't pretend to know what this album title means. But, the 1982, this was internationally released, unlike like the first 2, the first 3, including that compilation. So this is where the world heard of INXS for the first time. And I grew up seeing this album cover quite regularly, without ever looking at it. I don't know what I thought it was, but it was really only looking at this that I realized the very obvious, which is, that's a dog, and that's a person wearing a mask. Dog, person wearing mask. It wasn't immediately visible to me. It looked more like kind of just some kind of abstract sculpture, which, perhaps is intentional. It's an interesting album cover. Again, I don't know what it symbolizes or anything like that, but it's interesting. 1984's The Swing. This is a bit of a breakthrough for them. But I don't like this album cover especially much. They definitely all look like members of Duran Duran. But it was 1984. That's what you were supposed to look like. And the whole thing is designed with this kind of, drafting table. They are going to take this photograph and put it in a fashion magazine, and there's slides at the bottom and pencil shavings. It's all pretty put upon. It's a little bit pretentious, really. And yeah, that's it. Listen Like Thieves. This is not a live album, but the album cover definitely looks like it's a still from a live performance. I presume that that's Michael Hutchence, although to be honest, I don't actually have any proof of that. But it's a photograph of some man in front of very giant bright lights. And I'm only seeing this image through giant letters that spell out INXS in negative space, to the point that you might, just looking at it, think, okay, this is an orange photograph over which have been laid strange black triangles. But no, it says INXS. And, if you didn't get that, they wrote INXS again. Just in case you weren't sure and still needed to know the name of the band. And it says Listen Like Thieves at the bottom. I don't know what Listen Like Thieves means. Do thieves listen better or worse than the average person? I don't know. Kick. This sold 17,000 copies. This was their breakthrough album. This album cover, so completely ubiquitous that you don't realize that it's just really not a good album cover. Okay, Michael Hutchence has definitely transformed himself into extremely sexy man. And there he is looking extremely sexy. And there's two other band members not looking especially sexy, one of them crouching and the other one with a gun belt buckle. And then there's somebody's feet who is on a skateboard, because wasn't that 1987 in a nutshell? I don't know why they went with this album cover. A few years later, that was their follow-up to the Giant Kick album, and it was huge too, even though it's not particularly well remembered these days. And there's how many are there? There's six. The six of them jumping towards the camera, and Michael Hutchence is punching the camera, or attempting to, and dude swinging his guitar there. It's 1990, but this is, well, no, I was going to say a pretty 80s album cover, but I take that back. This is a 90s album cover. And it's pretty ugly. INXS has a lot of ugly album covers, don't they? So now their live album, intentionally, I always thought I had this album, actually, and I never knew how to pronounce this. Obviously, it's a live album, so you're going to want to say "Live Baby Live," but it's a song lyric where he sings "Live Baby Live." That's a new sensation, and obviously, that was intentional. But I don't know how to refer to this album, because I don't know if it's "Live Baby Live" or "Live Baby Live." Maybe it's both. Maybe it's "Live Baby Live" or "Live Baby Live." And this is how you have to make an album cover. He's in a live album cover. He's in a Jesus Christ pose with a sea of fans in front of him. And it's very over the top. It's very tacky. It's very messianic. But like I say, that's what you have to do. When you put out a live album, really what you're trying to say is, we are so huge that we can fill that we can fill stadiums now, and here's the visual proof, and then here's the audio proof if you choose to listen to it. 1992, and INXS clearly choose to go outside of their comfort zone for album covers, and this is memorable. We've looked at a lot of meh album covers. This is memorable. I don't know if it's good. It's three kids wearing bizarre suits that are they Boy Scouts? I don't know. And it's pretty difficult to scrutinize the looks on their face, especially the one in the middle. He looks, more than a little evil. He looks like a kid who's gotten away with something. And it's a very 1992 computery font that says "Welcome to wherever you are," and not putting themselves on the album cover was an interesting choice, really. I don't know if it was the right one, but it's interesting to see because it's different from the others, and it's a lot better than Full Moon Dirty Hearts, which is the six of them posing in the back of a van. It's knocked off. It probably took 10 minutes to put this album cover together, and I guess all we can really say is that's what they looked like in 1993. Of course, a few years after, they were kind of so incredibly popular. This is their fading years. Michael Hutchence still a very attractive man. The others still just kind of there. And that's all I have to say about this album cover. I've included a lot of the INXS greatest hits compilation things. Probably, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them anyway. And this was the first one, 1994, and it's all "Look at Michael Hutchence' body." I don't know why. Hutchence's, I should say. He's got a tattoo on his chest, and his face isn't there, just his body. And this is elegantly wasted. One of the final albums, actually, I guess the final album, before Michael Hutchence passed away. And this is a cool album cover. It's not the only cover image associated with this album. I guess there might have been different editions or something like that. But this is a very stylized, posed picture, like perhaps from a movie. A car's been flipped over. There are police, and the main focus is a woman wearing a very dirty INXS t-shirt, walking towards the camera, looking exasperated. Also, the other focus is the words "Happy Burger" and "Happy INXS." because that's weird. I like it. I like this album cover. It's telling a story that it never actually told the whole story. It's just starting a story and leaving it be, and I'm fascinated by that. Okay, I think we've got 4 compilations in a row here, so we can fly through them. The best of INXS. This is just entirely graphical, no picture at all. Probably took them 10 minutes to do. The only thing to notice is that it's got the same kind of logo to it as Elegantly Wasted. And so does this next one, Definitive INXS, and the one after that, the years 1979 to 1997. You can see that both of those have the same album cover, more or less, with the 6 of them in relief, walking without faces. 2005, and a band's got to make money somehow, so, put together a retrospective reissue kind of live album from your heyday. Can't fault them, but it's a very nothing album cover, just lots and lots of stars, like, the American flag, but overdone. And 2005, and what we've got is Switch. Now, what the album cover is a giant photograph of a switch, but turned sideways so it kind of looks like a gun or something like that. And that same, what I guess the band has decided is their wordmark logo, INXS, with the X in red and a star between the N and the X. But what Switch is an album of new material, with a guy called J.D. Fortune singing lead, and, Michael Hutchins's memory pissed all over. Again, I have no fault with people wanting to make money, I mean, he's dead, but you're still alive. You got to make your money somehow. No disrespect at all. I don't know that they should have used the name INXS to do this. Just like I don't know the Queen should have used the name Queen. They could have switched around. Don't worry, it gets worse. Original Sin, coming out in 2010. The album cover is of a tiger with pastel paint in the shape of an X over it, kind of Rorschach ink blot thing. Don't know what it means. Don't know why they chose it. Don't know why they released the album at all. It is... INXS had gone the reality TV route by this time, recruiting a new lead singer in a very overdone way. And what they did was they put out this album with old songs of INXS redone with other lead singers. Because they wanted to keep making money. And I don't think that there's any worth to that. The last thing we're going to see here is one more live album. One more compilation album. INXS, the very best. With a very awkwardly posed photograph of Michael Hutchins with his, shirt undone, and his arm way up over his head, which must hurt. And that's that. So, goodbye.